So today we're going to be learning about Pythagoras theorem proof. So, what is Pythagoras theorem used for? So Pythagoras theorem is used to work out the length of the missing side in a right angled triangle. So we usually know the lengths of two sides and we must find out the third side. So the theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. In other words, the square of the two shorter sides is equal to the square of the longer side. The longer side is always the hypotenuse. So now let's see why a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So before we see how a squared plus b squared equals c squared, let's just show you an example of a right angled triangle and it's labeled. So hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle and it is the longest side. We symbolize it as C. So as you guys can see, this is C and this is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always the longest side and it's always opposite the right angle. So as you guys can see, this is the right angle and its hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. There's an arrow showing you the opposite. So the right angle is always between the two shorter sides. So here is the first shorter side, A, and the second shorter side, B. So A and B. The square of the hypotenuse is always equal to the sum of the squares of the other two other shorter sides. So what this means is basically A squared plus C squared equals C squared. So that is the formula, that is the theorem of right angled triangles and trying to find out third length. So Pythagoras theorem proof. So why is it that a squared plus b squared equals c squared? So now you're going to see, if you put four triangles side to side like in the picture, you form two squares. A large square, as you can see, large square here, large square, and a smaller square. So if you want to find out the area of the large square, so that would be a plus b times a plus b, and this is a plus b. This is a, this is b because a and b are the short sides, and these are c because these are all the longer sides. So let's go on back. A plus b times a plus b, which is a plus b squared. So a plus b squared is also equal to c, the area of this smaller square, and the area of these four triangles. So that would equal to c squared plus the area of these four triangles. So the area of one triangle but first. So the area of a triangle is half times base times height. So that would be half times a times b. So that's 4 lots of half times a times b. So that's, there you go, a plus b squared equals c squared plus 4 lots of half ab. Now, we want to simplify that. That would be equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared equals c squared plus 2ab. Now, if you want to simplify that even further, you'd minus 2ab from both sides because 2ab is on both sides. So you'd minus that and you'd get a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that is why a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, you don't have to memorize this, but it's always good to memorize it because, yeah, it's just good. So this is a challenge. Find x using a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remembering the fact that when you do get a squared plus b squared, you would end up with c squared or x squared. Now, that's not the answer. We need to find out x, not x squared, so it's square root. And bearing the fact that you need to do a squared p squared, not a plus b, so that wouldn't be, you would do a squared plus b squared, so that's like 4 squared plus 8 squared. So that's enough. You can pause the video now and attempt this question. So here is the answer to this question. What you should have done is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Write the formula first, and then you should have done 4 squared because this is a, this is one of the shorter sides, and the second shorter side is here. So 4 squared plus 6 squared equals x squared. It doesn't really matter what you do, c or x. You can use either of them. So don't get confused in that. C is equals to x. So 4 squared plus 6 squared equals x squared. Now, x squared must equal to 4 times 4 is 16 plus 6 times 6 is 36. So 16 plus 36. Now x squared equals to 52 centimeters because 16 plus 36 is 52 centimeters. Now, without x squared, we want x, not x squared. So what are we going to do? We're going to square root 50. Now we square root 52, you get an answer like 7.21111, something like that. And obviously we don't want that. We want the answer in a suitable degree. So we do 7.2 centimeters to one decimal place. If you guys did get that, great. If you didn't, it doesn't really matter because this video is just about proof. It wasn't actually working out Pythagoras theorem, but if you did, it's great. And it doesn't really matter if you didn't, because I'll be explaining in the next video how to do these questions. So thank you very much for watching.